Hi, everyone. I am back again, and today I'm going to be doing the Synastry chart between Gwen Stefani and Blake Shelton. And this is a really nice change because it's just there's a lot of really lovey-dovey aspects in this chart. And even though I don't know his birth time, I'm surprised that I found as much as I did because it's really nice. So I'm going to get started. His Hermione and Valentine conjuncts her north node. And this is wonderful because whatever conjuncts your north node from the other, this means that it's going to be one of the basic themes of the relationship for you. And in this case, Valentine is conjuncting her north node. And Valentine is it's a sacrificial sort of devotional love that's unconditional. And Valentine, that energy, this person would stop a moving train to save your life. That's the energies of this. It's wonderful. And Hermione conjuncts her north node as well. And that has a very magical sort of effect, like waving a magic wand. And it's almost like a dreamy sort of dynamic that she feels from him. And I think that's why she said at one point, I remember her saying this, I feel like I'm in a dream. This is the exact energies of Hermione and Valentine conjuncting her north node. Also, there's a good possibility that his moon is conjuncting her north node. And like I said, I don't have his birth time, but I'm saying maybe there's a 50% chance that there's a conjunction there. And if that's true, that's a very strong emotional bond that is really hard to break. And I remember her song too, Bouquet, I think it's called. And she said, when you kissed me, it felt like home. And that's all of this combined really validates a lot of the things that she said while she's been married to him or since the relationship started. Also, there's a very strong possibility that they have a moon trine moon, it's a very nice aspect to have. Now, his Chiron, Reiki, Sedna, Groom, and Penelope conjuncts her IC. This is very nice. Chiron is there, but I'm going to explain how all of these asteroids are working together because I'm not a big fan of Chiron. It's a very unstable centaur. The orbit is very wibbly wobbly, so you never know what you're going to get with Chiron. And I've seen it happen where more than likely it's just not really a very nice dynamic ultimately in a relationship. But it does show up as healing, and in this case it does because Chiron is holding hands with Reiki. And Reiki is a healing asteroid. So he brought her healing in this relationship. Conjuncting her IC sits at the bottom of the chart. It's where your inner child lives. And it's on the cusp of the house that rules the home and the family. So he brought healing into this relationship for her and for the whole family together with her boys. And Sedna is there. That has to do with separation and betrayal. So there's healing involved here due to the separation and betrayal that she felt in her past relationships. Groom is there. He became her groom, and Penelope is there as well. That has to do with devotion, which would tie back to the Valentine asteroid conjuncting her north node. This is great. I mean, there's healing within due to the betrayal and separation, like I said, and he brings devotion and sacrificial sort of love. So this is it's really nice. Now, his Juno conjuncts her Venus. Juno has to do with marriage. It's conjuncting her love planet Venus. This is nice as well because he thinks that she is like the ideal woman. It's like the perfect woman that he would want to marry. When you have Juno conjuncting Venus, it's a very strong connection. He felt it, that, she's the right woman for me. Now, also conjuncting her Venus from him is Sphinx and Astarte. Sphinx is there conjuncting her Venus. So sometimes she can't quite figure this out. I think she thinks, well, how did this happen? that song, like I said before, Bouquet, it really explains a lot. She's like, you give me everything that I wanted. And she's also said, like I said before, I feel like I'm in a dream. She can't figure this out. It's just very, foreign to her in a way. Sphinx, it's like, you have to, like the Sphinx in Egypt, you have to, answer the riddles to get the story. It's very, very puzzling sometimes. Now, his Astarte is conjuncting her Venus, so that has to do with blow-ups and arguments. Now, every couple has them. But this particular dynamic, his Astarte conjuncting her Venus, that would tie into their Plutonian relationship that they also have, because they have some really challenging Pluto aspects, specifically Pluto squaring Mars at a very tight degree. And that can mean war, especially if you're living with someone underneath the same roof and you're together all the time. So there is definitely challenging energies there. Now, her Fortuna conjuncts his North Node. And the theme of this relationship for him, he feels very fortunate to be married to her, and there's fortunate circumstances in their relationship together. So this is also very nice. You don't want any bad asteroids conjuncting your North Node, because it'll eventually play out and it won't be fun. Now, his serendipity, Psyche, and Dionysus, and Ceres conjuncts her moon. And some of these actually conjunct her descendant as well. This is wonderful, because I've said so many times, you do not want bad asteroids conjuncting your moon from anybody, because it's going to show up. And the moon is a very important luminary in not only a natal chart, but a synastry chart as well. So serendipity conjuncting her moon. This is like, I can't believe I found him. I mean, I wasn't really looking for this man to come into my life, but he just fell into my lap and it just worked out. It was just finding something valuable, like a diamond in a haystack, and you're not expecting to find it. And also his Ceres conjuncts her moon, and that has to do with, that's love. It's a love asteroid, unconditional. And that's Ceres conjuncting your moon. That's very close to being soulmate aspect here. His Psyche conjuncting her moon, there's soul and passion. And now Dionysus is conjuncting her moon. And that asteroid has to do with drinking and partying and overindulgence. So I don't know if he drinks or parties, but that is definitely an energy coming into this relationship as well. Now, his Jupiter conjuncts her Eternitas, and that has to do with eternity. And Jupiter, the largest planet in the solar system, conjuncting her Eternitas. To her, this is like eternity. I want to be with him forever. He is my person. And now his Mercury conjuncts her Astrea. And Mercury, the thinking and talking planet, he says or thinks, I'm in this to the bitter end. I'm not going anywhere. We're in this together, and it's going to be the long haul. Either he has said that to her, which I'm sure that he has, but he does think that, and that's the energies that Astrea has, staying until the bitter end. Now, his Dejanira conjuncts her Pluto, and this is like he's a victim of the Plutonian energies here. There's a very strong, sexual, powerful, primal thing going on. And there's the 8th house is involved here. So maybe she's a dominatrix, but there's sexually kinky stuff going on. And Pluto, which is her, overwhelms him with primal passion and power. But he can handle that. I mean, he can handle this sexually strong force because his Hercules conjuncts his Lilith. And Hercules is, Hercules, the guy that in Greek mythology lifted up the barbells, and just a very strong sign of strength and longevity. So in the sexual department, he can handle it. And also to validate that, his Mira conjuncts her ascendant. So that has to do with kinkiness and, well, maybe, I don't, you get what I'm saying. So I'm just going to move on here. Now, his Mars and Hypnos conjuncts her vertex. 2 degrees. And hypnotic effects. He has a very hypnotic effect on her sexually, and it's very strong. Now, also, his Anteros conjuncts her Lilith, and Lilith, raw sexuality. So his Hercules is conjuncting his Lilith, very strong sexual, very, can last. And since his Anteros is conjuncting her Lilith, he loves the sexual part of the relationship, and so does she, because Anteros has to do with the love is equal on both sides of this dynamic. So they're very well suited to each other, and his Venus squaring her Pluto. Now, this has to do with possessiveness, power, intense attraction, and there can be a fear of losing the other. It's a very strong karmic aspect, and in this relationship, there will be explosions, and not all the time, but occasionally there will be explosions and blowups, which is also validated by his Pluto squaring her Mars at 0 degrees. That's like they both have very strong wills, and you don't want to, when it blows up, it could be like stepping on a landmine, but with the Venus squaring Pluto aspect, Venus usually gets the short end of the stick, because Pluto has more staying power, more power, and and Venus can frustrate her on so many levels, and then not on purpose, it just happens, and then she will want to control him and get what she wants out of the relationship, not completely, but when the contention or the challenging parts pop up, she's the Pluto person. She's going to fight for what she wants, and there could be selfishness involved here. But actually on both sides, because his Pluto is squaring her Mars. So this is going to be like a standoff. The only way to get through that is to have compromise. But since there's so many strong elements of love in this relationship, then I think that the compromise can be harnessed, and the power can be subdued due to the rest of the chart, as far as like I said, the love and the North Node. I mean, if there were negative asteroids conjuncting each other's North Node, or their moons, or the sun, this would be a dynamic of, like that movie War of the Roses, where people are throwing vases at each other and plates and all kinds of crazy stuff. But I think that looking over this chart, even like I said, I don't have his birth time, so I could be missing some things here, but it's a really nice synastry. So that's all I have today. I hope you enjoyed this interpretation, and I will be back shortly. So hit the subscribe button to stay in the loop. Have a nice day.